mechanic or something, or made furniture or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he died in this fever epidemic. Then these well-to-do whites who were going to Tennessee to set up a flour mill and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Knoxville was kind of coming along. And they went down there and they took Grandma Works. Rhoda was her first name. Bartley and Rhoda. Rhoda Works, they took with them. She was a good cook. They took Mama and Addie.
Okay.
One for me.
You don't know how old he was when he died?
I don't know their ages at all, no. But I imagine they were young, because everybody young nearly. They died young.
So she never married again after that?
No, she was crazy about well, she loved Papa when she found that he and Mama were going together on Knoxville College campus.
Okay, but that's different though. That's her children now. But I mean herself, she never remarried.
No, she never remarried.
Okay. We're going to take a break so you can rest from these hot lights. And then we'll continue right after these commercial announcements.
Yes. And
The Kennedy saga continues. Of course, you weren't even around yet.
Oh, no.
We're still talking now about your...
About my mother and her sister.
Right.
And their mother.
Right.
They brought down from Virginia and established their mother as their cook, as she had been in Virginia, and put them in school at Knoxville College. One of those schools is still in existence, still going.
Knoxville's still in existence?
Knoxville College is still in existence, and a bigger and better school. That's where my mother finished, where I finished, where my sister finished all but one subject, but we just covered it that she finished. And the father, Papa, didn't finish there, but he worked there as a brick mason.
Okay, let's finish up with your grandmother.
And grandmother Works, who lived with my mother after Papa and my mother married.
Mm-hmm.
And the baby almost died, and that baby was James Atkins. You remember him? Who died some years ago.
Well, wait a minute. Let's get back to your grandmother a second. Now, how did she die?
Typhoid again, I think. You know, that swept through and took away her husband and the two little girls.
Mm-hmm. Your mother was married by then?
Papa by that time.
By then.
And I want to tell you about that big, big, beautiful wedding at the First Baptist Church in Knoxville.
Who had this wedding?
My mother and my father had this big wedding, and I'm going to try to give you a copy of it if I can find the one that I was looking at a few days ago. James run them all off, one for each child, just so they would remember. And they married, and the first child born was James. Well, they had one who died like ours did.
Okay, do you know how they met?
My father and mother?
Mm-hmm.
Right there on the college campus.
They did?
He was working on the campus, you see, brick mason.
What was
Blacks
his name?
used to have the brick masonry work. Whites took it over when they saw how it made money for the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
The whites took it over.
What was his name?
Wally.
Wally what?
Wally Atkins.
Wally Atkins. Married your mother, whose name was?
Mary Robinson Works.
Mary Robinson Works.
Yeah. I see the governor's name was Robinson.
Governor's name was Robinson.
So that spells something. But we've never tried to piece it because whites didn't. Mary got very angry over there in Africa when we were at a small dinner with the whites, and they began talking about their ancestors, this and that and other, you know. And I came over on the Mayflower. See the people all over there from all different continents.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all at this small dinner. And it got to telling, and Mike so-and-so came over on the Mayflower, and on this, that, and that. And Mary and I were the only blacks. So, because they talked together, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, she just spoke up like this. My grandfather was the governor of Virginia. I looked at Mary. I could tell she was angry. And so everybody got quiet, said nothing. Then after a while, everybody got to talking again. So when we went home, or on our way home, which is very close, because Uganda's Africans had taken over all of England's property there. You see, England was finished.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, Mary, what happened? She said, I just got sick and tired of them talking about their high people. told them about ours. I said, oh. So it died out, you know. We never heard any more from them about that. But she did get told. But then that's why I want you, if I can find one, to have a copy of that wedding at this First Baptist Church, where we later lived right in front of it.
Okay, so now she met
Papa on Knoxville College campus.
Okay, how many children did they have?
They had 6.
Which were?
Yeah, 7. 6. But Leon and I had 7. They had a Rosalie. She died. And James was the 7th. All the rest of the children lived.
Okay. Who were they?
James, Lillian, Wally, me, Robert. Robert died about 4 months after Papa died. Mama was educated. In those days, she was educated. She'd finished college. And they sent her to represent Sun Lodge to Memphis, Tennessee, to get over Papa's death. And while she was in Memphis, Tennessee, this baby died, staying with the aunt that I was named from. I think he got on he had a little goat, and he used to love the little goat, and I think, I've always thought since then, that it must have had some paint or something on it, because he used to love to lick it. See, he was just a crawling baby, I suppose. He must have been about a year and a half. And so he died just shortly, in less than 2 or 3 hours. They were having a little funeral, the bigger ones. Wiley and Mayor James had to go to work at the age of 9. For James, you know of. Because Papa was dead and Mama was a widow, and there was nobody to help her at all. So James, this this man who owned the Gleaner paper, hired James because Papa and he were just like this, and they didn't have any children. So at the age of 9, when Papa was dead, he hired James to come work. So James was good as a printer as well as well educated, but and playing the piano. Because Mama said we all had to learn to play the piano, but his fingers got mashed in this printing press.
Oh yeah.
So he could never play anymore.
Okay, now James was the oldest. Then who was next?
Lillian.
Lillian?
Sister Lillian.
Okay. Then who?
Then Wally.
Then Wally.
And then me.
Then you.
And then Robert.
Then Robert. That's 5, right?
That was the 5. And Rosalie died when she was a baby.
Okay.
She was old.
Lillian died at the age of 20?
Of tuberculosis. It just seemed to be there in Knoxville everywhere. And the houses were not good like they are now, all well built. And they looked nice. Ours looked nice to be right there in front of this big church. But I mean, they were thin. They weren't well lined and all like they are now. Because we had a big front yard.
What did Lillian look like?
She was light like Papa.
Okay.
And had this Papa red hair.
Okay. We all know that James died at age
78.
in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay. Robert died.
Wally died in Knoxville, Tennessee. He was 48, just turned 40.
What'd he die of?
Well, just worn out, I suppose, because I was looking at one of his old letters last week when I was kind of throwing away things, and showed it to Irene. Irene was always very sad about Wally, because you see, he was 13 when Mama died, and there was really nobody to take Wally. They didn't particularly want boys, and Knoxville College didn't have any place for little boys. They would not let them come there and live in this great big building where young men were getting their degrees when they were finishing college, getting their degrees. No, they didn't let these small boys come in. They didn't have any place for them. But for girls, they had places for them. Me, I was 11. Lillian was 15. Finally, parents began dying, and they were there from all over. One little girl about 10, was there from L.A., all the way to Tennessee. Some man was there from the islands. They were there. Knoxville College was a good college. And people just sent their children. A blacks just worked hard and got them there. I think they asked James some few years ago to be on the faculty there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, James had better education, you know, than they could put out, I imagine. But it was very thorough. It was very thorough.
So Wally died at age 40?
He was 13 when Mama died. He never got to live with anybody or go to Knoxville.
Was he in the war?
No. He and his wife were in the same grade. They finished and married at the age of 18. Both of them were 18.
Mm-hmm.
And her mother was dead, and she was keeping house for her.
Did they have any children?
They had two. One. Did you know Isaiah Crippens? Good black lawyer sometimes. Doug used to say if he could just be a lawyer like Isaiah Crippens, he'd be happy.
Well, who was that?
The nephew of mine, Marion Atkins, my brother's first daughter, married him, and he finished at Yale University, finished at Knoxville College, went to Yale University. She was with him. And then they moved to Philadelphia, where they live now, if they live in.
You haven't seen him in a long time.
I've heard from her. And at that time, she had crippled her ankle. Of course, she's up in years now, you know. And he was in the hospital in intensive care. Well, he had been a judge there and everything. He had lived high, but he got to kind of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think kind of ruined his career. They
Who-
never had any children.
Who was the other one? You said they had two children.
The other is the girl who's now taking care of her mother, who had had strokes, like I had. But she was still living a while back. That was the youngest daughter,
Mm-hmm. What was her name?
Celeste. Now she was pretty.
Last name?
What was her last name? When she married.
But they were Atkins originally.
Yeah, they were
Right.
Wally Atkins' daughters.
What did Wally die of?
I don't know, this latest letter last letter I ever got from him, he was saying he was in Chicago. He wanted to move to Chicago. His wife wouldn't move. She was a Knoxville girl. She stayed a Knoxville girl. She would not get out of there. So he went to Chicago and tried to get everything ready for her to come. And the two girls were married then. She wouldn't come. So he came down.
Don't sneak her off anywhere. I need her.
She went to Knoxville College and finished. Cripp's wife, Crippens, the lawyer. And then she taught, and they finally moved to Philadelphia, and she also was at Yale, I think, to connect.
How old were you when Wally died?
Oh, I had all the children then. He wanted to come and live with us, but he had gotten kind of drinking with things like they were. He was never, in my letter, he was saying, I just never can get along. I'm so cold. And the wife didn't have much sympathy with that. She didn't like his drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Leon drank too. And neither of them to a great excess, but when he wrote and asked me, could he come and live with us in Franklin? Which, you see, that's where Daddy died. Well, I couldn't see that the two of them, with Franklin being a little, needed no work or anything. Of course, Leon was a good barber, but Wally wasn't there. Wally had worked at hotels all the time. He never got a chance to go to Knoxville College or any place like that. So he was just a working man.
So you weren't able to go to his funeral?
Yes, I went to his funeral.
Uh-huh.
I went to Knoxville. That was the last time I was there, 40 years ago. But I think he
So you were in your 40s when he died?
Yeah, I think he was 40, and I guess if he was 40, I was 30.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how old.
Did James, brother James go too?
No, he wasn't there. Elizabeth always felt herself quite at the top of me and anybody else, his wife, the second wife.
Mm-hmm.
And no, they didn't go.
Now Robert died.
Robert died when he was a baby.
He was the baby. So let me see. There were 5 of you. James Atkins to 78, Wally to 40, Lillian at 20, Robert the baby,
And I.
and you.
I'm still here.
How do you feel to just, you've outlived just about everybody you know?
One of them. It's always, well, you see, I'm always talking to God. And I always wonder why I was the sickly one and why I was left. I was always going home from school crying with a stomachache or something. And the last time Mama took me in her arms, she was in bed. And I came home crying, went to the bed, and she said, I hate to leave you more than anything. Of course, that didn't mean so much to me. I was just 11. I didn't know what she meant by leaving me. Because, you know, tuberculosis patients really will stay up until there's nothing left. The lungs are gone.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew that. Because this was in, must have been must have been long about the last of October or in November. Because she died the first week in December. And that's what she said to me, because I went on and I wouldn't eat anything hardly. What they had I didn't like, and so she'd have. And help came in, to large help. When she got so she just couldn't do anything. And they'd have dinner ready or something. I didn't like so many things I didn't like. And I wouldn't eat them. Spoiled, I suppose. Being the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
So that day she said that, but it didn't dawn on me what she meant. So I went on, and then I went back to school. They had dismissed me from school that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was crying. And I went on back to school, and then Thanksgiving, she was nearly gone, but being with her all the time, see, we didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Because she'd be up as much as she could. But then she'd have to go to bed and rest and everything like that. And I don't think any of us realized it. But James had been put in Knoxville College. She always wanted James to go to Howard. But she realized that she was dying. Of course, we didn't. So one day, James came back to school, Knoxville College, but she said he could go there until he was able to go to Howard. But she knew that she was going to be gone. I guess she thought. And so she called him aside and talked to him. What she ever said, we never knew. But she must have told him that she wasn't going to live for him to take care of. He was 17. No, he might have been 18 when his birthday day had come. And I'll say he's 18. So she talked to him, and he came out looking very, well, you know how you look when you've been told something, you must tell it.
Mm-hmm.
So then, soon after that, the doctor began coming every day and declared her worse. And one night I was sitting up crying again, and I was the only one in the room with her, and I wanted a nickel to go and buy some ginger snaps for me and my dog. And she told me...
You and your who?
Dog.
Dog, uh-huh.
So she told me to go back in the kitchen and ask one of the women back there to see that I got a nickel. And that I could run to the store and buy some ginger snaps for me and the dog. And that was the last night, because she's still talking. And finally we all were told to go to bed. James, of course, I'm pretty sure, our Lily, because Lily and I slept together. We had a piano and everybody could play, and it's a big one, these big grand pianos.
Mm-hmm.
It had been given to us. And I had my little playhouse under that piano. But she died that night. And as she was dying, they woke us all up and told us to come and we did, and she died. And when the funeral came, this Uncle John, Carter.
You saw her die?
Yeah.
You were watching?
Well, we didn't realize exactly, because we'd never seen anybody die. And then it was over.
How did you feel?
I don't realize, I don't remember. It just never, at the age of 11, when you haven't seen all these things, I don't think it means so much to you. You don't think they're gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow you think, oh, well, you know, it should be something like that. I think young children, they don't realize they've gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a big funeral at the Baptist church right there across from where we were. But there was one minister, the minister of the church, he was a man who had built the church up, and he was something. kind of fast. He's young, fast and fickle. And he was going with one of the choir girls, and at the same time they said one with the mother. Now I don't know, you know how people put out kids. Because he married the girl later on. But she said his name was Carter, and he'd come over. We had a big front porch, flowers, you know. Mama would sit on the porch as much as she could because the weather wasn't terribly bad in Tennessee. He'd come over, Americans, when you die, I'm going to preach your funeral. And I can remember her saying to him, because I was always hanging around like, Carter, I don't want you at my funeral. She'd talk right straight to him, and she'd call him Carter. Carter, I don't want you at my funeral. I used to look at Mama, you know, kind of afraid for her to talk to him like that. But he just got to speak, and the ministers, black ministers in the city, nearly every one of them spoke at the funeral. Because I used to say we would have been one of the top families with everything like they were. That one of the top black families, if they had lived. See, they both died very young. So we just came down to the bottom of the family. That was it.
Okay,
So,
tell me the story of Red Pet, and then we'll stop.
Oh, the horse?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the story about it because I was too little. But I just remember the horse. And well built, you know, and some pretty nice about it. And the stable was kind of far out from the house. And we'd go out there and look at them. And of course, we'd see Papa get on his horse and go to take the mail. He was a mail carrier, and he did his mail by horseback. We'd watch that. But Red Pet, he liked to take us to church with Red Pet. And of course, we didn't know, Mama didn't know it was a wild horse. So that Sunday, he was taking us to church, and he just ran wild and talked to Buddy and went on about his business. Threw us all out. So that was the end of Red Pet as far because we moved into town. We were out of the city. And I never knew much about any of the horses because I was too young.
How did you meet Granddaddy Leon?
I went there to teach.
Before I start with that, your grandmother died way before your mother died, right?
Yeah.
But James, your brother James, was born, your grandmother was still around.
Yeah, she was the one they said that she contracted this fever from him. That's what they used to say. Because he got well.
And she was nursing him.
Yeah.
Then she died.
She got well. I mean, he got well, she died.
I see.
And that was before Lillian was born, just before Lillian was born.
Okay.
And after that,
That's when she died.
Yeah, she died. Yeah.
Okay. How old were you when you met Granddaddy Leon?
18.
18? Where'd you meet him?
In Kentucky, where I went to teach. A Knoxville girl was also a teacher, and we went over together. She was about 4 years older than I. She met her future husband. And Leon used to say, you went by train then. There were no buses for you to go by. And naturally,
He died.
she got well. I mean, he got well, she died.
I see.
And that was before Lillian was born, just before Lillian was born.
Okay.
And after that,
That's when she died.
Yeah, she died. Yeah.
Okay. How old were you when you met Granddaddy Leon?
18.
18? Where'd you meet him?
In Kentucky, where I went to teach. A Knoxville girl was also a teacher, and we went over together. She was about 4 years older than I. She met her future husband. And Leon used to say, you went by train then. There were no buses for you to go by. And naturally, no planes. We went by train, and we got over there, and there were people around to meet the teachers, the new teachers from Tennessee. And Leon was there. He was a barber on the main street. And he had learned barbering very early. And he was always on the front chair because he was said to be the best barber. So he said he ran up to where the train was going to come. And he saw these two Tennessee girls get off the train. And he said he saw that little one, but she was taller. So that little one said, I'm going to marry her. Now he used to tell that, I'm going to marry her, that little one. Well, it came to pass that he did. But the tall girl, she looked like a black doll. She was as pretty as a doll. And she was black.
Mm-hmm.
And she was tall and slender. And everybody made on over her beauty. I didn't get much making on over her.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Well, if you did,
We all know you were pretty.
Well,
that's where I got my looks.
Is anybody hearing it? But Alrina was. She was really pretty. She looked like the black dolls that they used to sell, teeth and all. She was just born pretty.
She couldn't have been prettier than you.
Well, I always felt that she was. I never was jealous of her because she was older. She had taught before. I had taught, like Irene taught at first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a helper. A teacher's aide. Well, no, not teacher's aide. But I had taught in Tennessee to fill out this man who gave up his job to start running on the road, and I got it for about 6 months. And of course that was straight teaching, it wasn't an aid.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got the job in Middlesbrough. Didn't ask for it. One blessed thing, I never had to ask for a teaching job. Somebody always asked me.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So,
But then again, that's because you were intelligent, charming, beautiful.
Thank you for the compliments after 50, 75 years.
Now,
But
why?
I did like her well enough to never be jealous of her.
Why did you like Granddaddy Leon?
Well, he was so funny, for one thing. I used to tell him after we married that he could have been a comedian, didn't I say? Didn't we all say that Daddy could have been a comedian? He could think of the funniest things. And of course there were saloons all over.
Is that where we got our sense of humor?
I think so. Didn't get that from me. But Leon could think of the funniest things, so funny that when we were really growing together, you know, when you first go to a place, all the men want to go with the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And we were the two teachers from out of town. We were from Tennessee, this was Kentucky.
Right.
So all of them wanted to go with us, but you know, you may spend some time going without somebody, but you don't care.
Leave your glasses off for a minute. I'm taking
There was
a
no
different
fun.
shot of it.
No fun in that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got to go, she got to go on steady with the man she finally married. I got to go on with Leon, and he always had the funniest things to say. First place he took me was down to his mother's house to meet his sisters and his mother and his brothers. He had 5 brothers. And I think they were pleased with me, but it wasn't